Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot. And this, the Friday weekly tarot reading for the fire signs Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. We're going to jump right off with Aries. And as you can see, we have Mercury in Aries today. It is Aries season, right? The sun is in Aries right now, but also the planet Mercury. So take a moment to sit back, relax, and meditate on these beautiful images while I just take a little bit of a shuffle of your deck. And this is a general reading, right? And after this reading, of course, we're going to get right into Leo all in one video and then into Sagittarius. Later on, the love readings will be up on my channel as well today. So those are the love tarot readings for each of the fire signs. Please do remember, these readings are not going to resonate with everyone. And for some of you, you may only even resonate with a small portion of the reading, and that's fine. Whatever applies to you, take that. And if it doesn't apply, just leave it on the table. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take these cards away, and we're going to move Aries up a little bit and get right into your general outlook. All right, straight out, we have King of Swords, the Page of Cups, the Tower, and the Three of Cups. All right, then we have 10 of Swords coming in, 8 of Cups coming in. Wow. Knight of Cups, and the World card. At the bottom of the deck, we have 2 of Cups, lovers, that agreement, right? 2 of Cups represents an agreement that you're making with somebody that, hey, you and I, we're going to do this thing, right? We're coming together. All right, let's get right into it. A lot of cup cards. Even though this is a general reading, Aries, it seems to be that it is primarily to do with associations of the heart. Let's get into your King of Swords, 10 of Swords. So this week, Aries, you're kind of fed up, all right? You've been fed up with people sort of crossing boundaries with you, talking to you some kind of way, just kind of trying to knock you down, trying to get your ego sort of knocked down, chipping away perhaps even at your self-esteem, things like that. And you've just had enough of all of that. So you're going to be quite strict this week. You're going to be a little bit sharp with your tongue. You're going to be telling people where to get off at. You're going to be telling them, look, it's enough. Time for you to back off. You're going to be kind of laying down some ground rules with a lot of people because you're coming out of a period of having been perhaps, I'm going to say, taken for granted a little bit. People just acting as though, your feelings don't matter. Acting as though they can sort of, I don't know, just treat you any way that they want to. And you're kind of like fed up of it. Some of this may be going on at work for you. Nevertheless, we're going to get some clarifiers as it comes in. Now, some of you, Aries, if you're resonating with this reading, on top of kind of laying out all these, sort of, I want to say, reforging boundaries, right? Reevaluating and kind of reinforcing certain boundaries, there is also a connection happening with someone. It's very tenuous. All right. It's very, very tenuous. And it does kind of feel like this person is reaching out to you and I'm not sure that you're there for it. You've recently broken up, or you've certainly walked away from some relationships recently that just don't suit you. There's Judgment. Okay. So let's get some more clarifiers coming in on that. Yeah, see, so there's your betrayal. Somebody really betrayed you and you're like, you know what? I'm not having it. All right, so let's move this over a little bit. Somebody really came in and we'll move it over like that and really sort of broke your trust. Okay, they broke your trust. And that's one of the reasons why you're coming in this week so strong. This betrayal is definitely one of the reasons why you're being very cagey. You're being very stern with people around you. You kind of had enough, but somebody's coming in for you. And I think they're coming in because they want a reconciliation with you. You walked away from this person previously, but they're coming back. And why are they coming back? I think it's because you've kind of like elevated yourself. Here's a Queen of Pentacles energy. When you came out of this situation with them, you really took a lot of time for yourself and you said, look, all right, That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and put some effort into manifesting my own goals, getting my body together, my mind together, getting my money right. And so you're resonating up, and you're also being very, very, I want to say, selective about who you're letting in close. And this is attractive to this person. I believe you've walked away from them, but you walked away from them because they treated you, poorly. They treated you really bad. They definitely betrayed your trust in some area. They definitely broke a bond. They may have cheated, or they may have just lied. Three of Swords energy is a betrayal of trust, and that can just be a lie sometimes, right? But nevertheless, it feels to me like you walked away from them, and yet they're still trying to come back in. They're trying to say, I'm sorry, can I have you back? And I don't know that you're there for it. You've made kind of a leap. But yes, as we look ahead, there's some shock coming in. So let's carry on with some more clarifiers. Page of Pentacles has just come in. This person is really going to be around you. All right. I feel like you're going to be dealing with them, just being around, trying to do little things for you. They think that might get them back into your good graces, as it were. But I don't think you're paying attention to any of that, right? You've kind of really risen above all of it. They're presenting with Page of Pentacles, and you're presenting with Queen of Pentacles. Now, I know this isn't a love reading, but it's still kind of, it's something you're busy with, because they're making you busy with it. They're in your face. Every time you turn around, they're there. There's a lot of that going on. Nevertheless, you have a Tower moment coming up. So let's get some clarifier on that. As I say, Aries, you are really going to be stepping up your qualifications for people to be your friend. I guess that's the way I want to put it. It's like, look, you've been dealing with people coming into you. This person that I think you walked away from is just the latest of the closest people to you, but you're walking away from a lot of people, I think. You're walking away from a lot of people that you realize just aren't good for you. Ten of Swords, again, coming out twice. So there's still a Tower moment that happens, though. Some information, I think, really comes in that makes you kind of like think twice about a particular scenario. So as this person, and that's the card that just flipped over as I was shuffling. So as this person tries to come back in, tries to reconcile, they're in your face a lot, I'm going to say, Aries. In the meantime, a divine sort of bolt comes in. Tower energy comes in and from someone else. And there's a new love that comes in for you. Boom. Ace of Wands. The great phallic symbol. A lot of passion. A lot of sexual energy. And all of this is because you've kind of said goodbye to people who are really taking up space in your life. Sometimes when you have a lot of people taking up space in your life who aren't good for you, who are toxic, who cause a lot of issues in your life, you don't have room for something good to come in. Now that you've walked away, you're at the end of this cycle. You've had it, you know what I mean? You've really, truly had enough. You say, okay, I'm not going to allow these people, I'm not going to allow these sort of mental games to bring me down anymore. I'm rising above. You're not really hurt by the same games anymore. You suddenly made a lot of room in your life, and out of the blue comes a connection, a love connection. Boom. Two of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Knight of Cups. Somebody, again, who wants to come in for you. But this person now is coming in as a knight. This person you broke up with may be trying to come back to you, but they're coming back to you as a page, a boy, a child. The individual is coming into you now, is coming in older, stronger, more resilient, more determined. They're coming in like a knight, and it's like a big difference. I'm going to say it's a huge difference to what you've been used to. Again, this is because you're making room in your life. You're making room in your life by getting rid of stagnation, getting rid of individuals who seek to bring you down. This will be a big shock, though, coming in for you, Aries. This attention from this individual, it's gonna be from someone that you least expected. Okay. And it's going to be a big surprise. All right, let's get some more. Knight of Swords. There will be some friends that you keep. Three of Pentacles. So there will be some few friends that you still keep around, right? Three of Cups is there. That you still kind of keep close to you, that you say, okay, you're, good friends, right? And they're going to be there. They're going to be they're going to be there witnessing all of this that's going on with this knight that's coming into your life. And they're going to be like, ooh, Aries. And when I say knight, excuse me, this doesn't mean it has to be a man, right? A male. My readings have nothing to do with gender or sexual orientation. It's just masculine energy. This person has very forward masculine energy. And it's going to be obvious to everybody. It's going to be obvious to your friends. This is going to be feeling very much like a fated or destined sort of situation. And you're going to be reminded at some point, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't gone through all of this nonsense over here, if I hadn't walked away from this person who is still pursuing me and kind of a pain in the ass, if I hadn't done all of that, I would not have run into this individual. This situation wouldn't have come up. And you're going to see what I'm talking about when it happens for you. Okay, it's going to feel very much like out of the dear blue sky, you know what I mean? Out of, like the universe is just throwing you guys together, but it's also going to be a result of a certain amount of, a result of certain activities happening, right? This leads to this, to this, to this, to this, and then you find yourself all of a sudden in this one particular place at this particular time and date, and then boom, you run into this individual. So let's get some oracle cards and get ready to go ahead and call this a reading. This energy can last, this reading generally is a snapshot for what is bubbling now in the ether, and it can be over the next couple weeks that this happens if you're resonating with it. If you do resonate with this Aries or Aries cross watchers, go ahead and sound off in the comments. Claim the reading, let the collective know. Spirit of the Apple, a test and offer coming in. I love this card. The Spirit of the Apple, an offer coming in. Are you going to take this offer? It's a good offer. Okay, it's an excellent offer. It's an excellent offer, and it's definitely a better offer than this sort of, I'm going to say, really child is bringing to you. This person here represents this person who really caused this betrayal and this damage to you. Really, presents with a lot of childlike energy. Spirit of masquerade, false, hidden, deceptive. All right. That's this person and certain people in your life that you are now cutting out. And we have feminine spirit again, intuitive, nurturing, receptive. I love this card. This beautiful energy coming in for you. All right. And I think you will be receptive to this new person coming in because you've had you've had enough of this child. I think you see them for a child now too. It's like, oh my God, I can't even believe I allowed them to break my heart or to hurt me. Why did I even put any trust into them? I should have known better scenario, right? It's a lot of the vibe here. All right, guys, I am going to leave it at that, Aries. This is kind of your general outlook over the next week. I do hope it resonated for you. I hope it gave you some insight on a particular situation that you're going through. Please do come back every Friday for my general tarot reading for the fire signs. But for right now, just take a moment to look at the cards. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and then we're going to be right back with the Leo reading. So now let's get right into Leo, the general reading for the fire sign of Leo. So let's go ahead and let you meditate on those cards on the table. There are no planets in the sign of Leo right now. All right, guys, so we're just going to meditate on Leo, fire, and sun. Those beautiful images. Again, sit back, relax. Remember, these readings aren't going to be for everyone. All right, let's cut your deck. And we'll take these away for now and put Leo right there. And we'll pull out your cards, starting off with Chariot energy, Hanged Man, Wheel of Fortune, and Strength. That's your card, Leo, showing up in your own reading. We have the world, the Eight of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Pentacles. So really sort of rebuilding yourself. Five of Pentacles energy is all about rebuilding after a loss, after a setback, hitting ground zero all over again. Rebuilding, whether it be your health or your wealth, just revitalizing your life and getting everything back in order. So that's the underlying energy that's in this reading right now for you, Leo. But let's take a moment here. So Chariot energy is coming in for you. I'm going to say, Leo, you are kind of on a path right now, right? Some things have changed in your life, I feel like. You've made some adjustments, and right now you're really paving the way toward a particular goal, okay? And this feels very much like, you're on top of things, right? This Five of Pentacles world, you're beginning to get traction, okay? You're beginning to feel like you're moving forward. You're beginning to feel like progress is coming in for you, all right? And that's a great feeling, especially on the heels of this sort of setback that you've had, right? Some of you may have had to move, or you may have lost a job, or you may have lost everything. And you just completely had to rebuild yourself. But this week is the week where you really start to see signs that things are happening, right? There's some inspiration that comes in for you as well. I think in a particular area in your life where up until now you felt really kind of hopeless, or rather like you had no options, right? You felt very much victimized. I think it's interesting. Eight of Swords has shown up a lot the last few days over the readings. And it's just this feeling of helplessness in a way, of being given options that aren't really options. And just feeling very resentful about that. There's something that's switched here for you in that regard. Let's get clarifiers right away. We have Chariot clarified with that Three of Wands. So yes, information is coming into you this week that's starting to give you some hope, starting to make you feel, like I said, that things are really beginning to move along, that you're beginning to get some traction for everything that you've been doing recently in terms of putting effort in, right? You're still waiting for some news on a particular front, though. Oh, Seven of Swords coming in, treachery. Let me show you this card, okay? Seven of Swords, look at that. Look at that, man. He's like, oh, I'm going to get what I'm going to get. Nobody's paying attention to me. I'm slick. I'm going to come in. I'm going to grab something from Leo. And Leo's not even going to realize what I took. Yeah, there was some really treacherous energy there, right? Seven of Wands can also be a feeling of futility. And it's kind of, it is the card for futility in a lot of decks. Listen, it feels as though to me, Leo, that before the way you were, especially with this Eight of Swords, the way you were dealing with things was very futile. It was very victim sort of like, you wanted your cake and eat it too. In terms of putting actual work into what you were trying to accomplish, you weren't really putting the work in. And then when things weren't working out, you weren't taking responsibility. This is the kind of energy that I'm talking about here also, that you've turned around. You've kind of, matured, right? You've matured in a lot of ways. And you've realized that, the situation that you were in was of your own making. So I'm not trying to sort of like, get on you about it. What I'm trying to say is that you turned that all around for yourself. You had an epiphany. You kind of realized what you needed to do. There's your Queen of Wands showing up. Excellent energy. She shows up when you learn a lesson. She shows up when you go through things. Yep. And it was a heartache. Okay. For some of you, Leos, this was a breakup, a heartache. You had to walk away from somebody. I think, Leo, you might have been caught up in some real toxic energy. And then at the same time being like, well, it's not my fault. Right? But most recently, I think you've taken an enormous amount of responsibility for what was going on before. And now you're coming into a place in your life where you're really beginning to understand what happened. I feel like you took responsibility here. Five of Pentacles, when you really hit rock bottom. For some of you, it was a rock bottom. And you're like, you know what? I need to shape up, get myself back together. Let me pull myself up off the ground and, let me rebuild, right? You had to hit rock bottom. And part of that meant that you had to walk away from some relationships, right? And you had to face some of your own sort of, I want to say, shadow behavior, toxic, self-sabotaging behavior. And you've done it, though, right? You've done it. And this week is the week where you really begin to feel the fruit of your labor, where you really begin to feel the payoff, right? And how does that manifest? Well, for some of you, it manifests in success. You're going to start getting some successes happening to you or happening for you on this path that you're on. This path involves some kind of project, job, or endeavor that is filling up your time, that you're putting your effort into. This is part of the healing process and why you're moving forward. But it's been a lot of work. And what I'm talking about in terms of some of the shadow energy, this was kind of the place you were at before, but now you're in a different place. And this week, the universe is going to start giving you some payoff. It's going to start giving you some signs, some payoff, some rewards for some of your work. You're not getting the whole payoff because you haven't reached it yet. You're still kind of on your path. You're on your journey now, right? You're on your journey to accomplish this goal. But you're going to start getting payoff. For instance, for some of you, if hitting rock bottom was really getting your health together, maybe your health was really, really bad. And part of that was because of some of the behavior you were exhibiting and the way you were acting, etc. You may have been drinking a lot. You may have been just doing a lot of sort of self-destructive things, right? And so you came out of that and you began to work on your health. Perhaps you began to work on your fitness, right? This is just an example of the type of things I'm talking about. Well, this week, you haven't really reached your goal yet, but this week is perhaps a week where you are going to begin to start seeing weight loss or weight increase, if that's what you're looking for, muscle increase, or, increased endurance, or your measurements, your heart measure, your blood pressure may be decreasing. This is what I'm talking about. You're beginning to see payoff for a lot of work that you've put in to turn your life around most recently. Some of you are actually going to come into a lot of good luck that is bringing a lot of money in. Karma, judgment, forgiveness is coming in. Yeah, you're beginning to forgive yourself. Your confidence is coming back. So if you come to this reading and you're at a point in your life where you've almost just about been like, yeah, I've been working and working, I don't see any payoff, what's going on? Stay vigilant and exercise a little bit of patience because the payoff is coming. 7 of Wands is there and Page of Pentacles. Yes, the payoff is coming. All right. Some of you, Leo energy, you're dealing with another Leo, okay? But this Wheel of Fortune, this Ace of Pentacles, this opportunity comes in, but you're going to have to be, it's not going to be easy, all right? The 7 of Wands comes in to show you it's not going to be easy. You're still going to have to work for it. You're still going to have to put a lot in, all right? You're still going to have to remain sort of creative. You're still going to, you know what I mean? You're still going to have to keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's put this on top here. But if you're strong and you exercise strength over your pride, over some of your emotions, right? Your more raw emotions as signified by that strength card, you will persevere. Money and abundance is coming in. Okay? And also for some of you, you may even indeed have an opportunity coming in this week with that Wheel of Fortune to reach your goal quicker. The goal that you're setting off on here, to reach it even a little bit quicker because the universe is bringing you a golden opportunity. High Priestess is there because throughout all of this, your gut has been telling you what to do. Okay? Throughout all of this, she's been there kind of in the background to say, you're right on track. You're right on track. You know you're on track. And indeed you do know you're on track. These two energies are some of the strongest energies to have for achieving what you know you're going to achieve. The Queen of Wands and the High Priestess, both extremely confident energies. The Queen of Wands can make it through anything. And she always has that smirk of like, yep, I made it. It was tough going. I'm not sure that anybody else, not many people would have made it through what I made it through, but I made it through. And this is one of the reasons why she's so wise. There's a lot of wisdom that you gain over this next period of time, just wisdom about life and wisdom about yourself, and how you can change yourself and how you can hit rock bottom and bounce back. More specifically, bouncing back because you've really paid attention to some of the toxic and self-destructive behavior you were engaging in, and you put a stop to it. You said enough is enough. Let's get these oracle cards out. It's an interesting read, Leo. I mean, you're really just progressing, and I think you feel good about it. This week is a week to feel good. Spirit of the wolf, loner, fierce instincts, of course. Along with that High Priestess, that's just what we're talking about. You want to have those instincts, right? Listen, not everybody can do the same things. Not everybody can come with you on your journey, and sometimes you have to be the loner. To accomplish what you need to accomplish. To resonate as a queen, you will be a loner. Spirit of envy. Watch out. Whenever you resonate up, people will get jealous. They will get envious. They will get resentful. Miserable. Okay? So that energy is there. Watch out for it. I feel that energy is absolutely coming in from the outside. And then Goddess of the Night, Spirit of Hecate, crossroads, ghosts. Yes, there is a crossroads here. You're kind of going into a new life and you're not going to be turning back anymore. You're not turning back to the type of person you were before. Leos, you take a long time sometimes to mature. That's just the nature of your sign. You're big kids. Leo men, oftentimes are considered to have Peter Pan syndrome. Leo women as well, Leo men, women, doesn't matter. Leos, they want to be children for the rest of their lives oftentimes. And it can be later on in life or after perhaps quite a lot of experiences, difficult experiences, mostly of their own making, that they begin to resonate into their next evolved state. Okay, there are 3 evolutions of all the signs. So look that up if you're interested in that. But there's 3 stages of the Leo. And the lion is the basic stage, but then you rise up through 2 more stages, and they involve self-mastery and kingliness. So, this is a feeling here that, Leo, this reading is for you, those of you who are now kind of resonating up into your next sort of stage, right? Because you've done a lot of self-work, you've done a lot of shadow work here. All right, Leo, I'm going to leave it. This is your general tarot reading for this week. Take a moment to look at all the cards. I'm going to go get a sip of coffee, and then we will be right back to finish this Friday tarot session off with Sagittarius. All right, let's get right into Sagittarius. This is the general weekly reading for the fire sign of Sagittarius, and there are no planets in Sagittarius today. So we're just going to leave those energies there for you to meditate on. Take a moment. And then we're going to get right into it, guys. All right. If you're looking for a love reading, check my channel. The love reading should be up, premiering right after the premiere of this reading. So check that out. But let's get into Sagittarius right now. I'm going to cut your deck. And take these cards away. And put Sagittarius right there. All right, guys. So, Ace of Cups. Wow. Queen of Pentacles. 10 of Swords. And the High Priestess. 4 of Pentacles. Hermit, Knight of Pentacles, and the Moon. Sagittarius, wow. Bottom of the deck, unrealistic expectations. 7 of Cups, don't be too lofty. So right away, Sagittarius, Ace of Cups coming in for you, a new love. A new love connection coming in to you hard and fast. All right, guys. I'm going to come back to that with some clarifiers, but that's essentially what you start your next couple of weeks off with, this energy of, spring is in the air type of energy. You know what I mean? And something is happening with someone. On the back of that, though, you have been busy with work, Sagittarius. It's interesting because I think this Ace of Cups comes out of nowhere. You've been so busy with work, so busy with putting blood, sweat, and tears to accomplish something, to manifest your goal. You have a goal. Some of you, again, this may have something to do with a particular project, a creative project, but something that is really important to you, work that you love doing and that you want to succeed in, and that requires more than just sort of punching a clock, right? This work that you're focusing on really involves putting your all into it, and you're being very solitary. You're not going out, you're not dealing with people, you're not, I'm going to say you're not socializing necessarily. Let's get a clarifier here. Yep, there it is, Knight of Wands. You are like right now, nothing, you don't want any distractions. Right? There's no distractions. Knight of Wands energy is there. You are absolutely moving forward. You're making all the moves that you need to make. You're making all the adjustments. If there's any kind of adjustment that needs to be made to accomplish this goal, you're making it. You're not, you're fired up. You're not afraid. All right. You're thinking outside the box, you're being highly creative, but you're certainly not afraid, and you're moving forward really, really fast. Okay? Things are moving very quickly for you now. The world, yeah, and again, the world has been showing up a lot for my readings lately because I just think that my collective has their finger on the pulse right now. You guys are absolutely right exactly where you want to be in your life. You're doing what you want to do and you're moving along. Let's get a clarifier on that Ace of Cups. Yeah, Four of Swords energy. So this person comes in and you're just kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure. And Strength. Some of you may be dealing with a Leo. Okay? You're just not sure. You're like, I don't know. Right now, worries about money and your stability and sort of, listen, when I talk about this kind of a goal here, I'm talking about something that's going to resonate you up, right? You're trying to make money. You're trying to, and at the same time, it's something you feel strongly about. So it's like you're in a field that you enjoy. You're doing something you enjoy. You're doing something that you're very talented at, but you're also doing it with the objective of making some cash, resonating yourself up and not having to worry about finances, not having to penny pinch and hold on to every little penny because you're worried about you're worried about your cash flow. You're just trying to do more. You may be trying to buy a house. You know what I'm saying? You may be trying to start making that kind of money so that you can have a vacation. I feel that my readings generally talk about this a lot because I think that a lot of my particular collective, the people who come to my readings for whatever reason you find yourself here, are going through this. A lot of times, Two of Pentacles has been showing up in my readings. Wouldn't be surprised if it shows up again today because a lot of my collective is juggling a lot. Everybody's juggling things and trying to keep all the balls in the air, trying to, accomplish something, trying to get somewhere, trying to scratch out more than just a living, trying to scratch out a life that is enjoyable, where the work that you're doing is something you love and is also something that brings you enough money that you can have a life. And so you're really busy with this. And I'm not sure that you have any time for any love that comes in. Yep. You're constantly reevaluating what you've built up so far. Where am I at now? How much do I have? What else do I need to do to increase that? I don't say that it is being done in a, and there's Seven of Swords showing up for all my readings the last few days. I don't say that it's being done in any kind of greedy way. It's just very focused. Okay, you're very, very focused right now on, paying attention to what you're accumulating, what you're earning, what you're gaining, and how to increase it, how to be more efficient, how to be better, how to sort of really manifest this beautiful goal that you have. You can see on this card here with Queen of Pentacles, you see how she's looking at that coin. She's looking at it because it's like, this is a dream. This is something you really, really want to accomplish. You want to do well at it. You want to succeed at it. And that success shows when you have capital, or when you have cash flow, or when you're able to begin to start seeing some real material benefits. I will say Seven of Swords is there. Listen, be careful with the energy of futility. Okay. Seven of Swords is quite a treacherous card. It oftentimes can indicate theft, deception, but it's also the card for futility. And sometimes when you're flailing around, you're making certain decisions, it's an exercise in futility. It's not going to work. And it's not going to work because it doesn't come from a place of real work, right? When you're trying to accomplish something, or when you're trying to gain something and you're trying to gain it the easy way, that's futile. That's futility in a nutshell. Oftentimes I'm reminded of the story of the tortoise and the hare, the race between a tortoise and a fast jumping hare, rabbit, right? And it's like, it's a famous story because the hare, being very sort of lazy and entitled, and he naturally thinks that he's going to be faster than the tortoise. So why work for it? He's taking naps along the race and cutting down alleys and doing all kinds of things, because he really doesn't feel like he has to put the effort in. And ultimately he loses the race to the tortoise. Why? Because the tortoise consistently puts in step by step by step by step that work towards the goal, towards the end. Meanwhile, the hare is just flailing around and really making a lot of futile attempts to win, but not actually making real attempts to win. And so you want to be careful with that. The work that you need to put in is continuing, right? It's like you haven't reached your goal yet. And I feel like, it's almost as the closer you get to your goal, the further away you are, because you're perfecting something, and it's going to take a while. The Knight of Pentacles is there. The Knight is very determined and realizes that the path is long and arduous and sometimes winding, right? And sometimes you have to double back, but he stays on the path. And that's what you're doing right now. Staying on the path, and you will get there. Ten of Swords is coming in. Queen of Wands, she showed up for Leo too. And a victory. So you come through this having taken a lot of heat. You've taken a lot of heat. You've taken a lot of knockbacks. I think that there's been some failures along the way. And when I say failures, you've tried different things to, on this path, right? In this work that you're doing for this objective, right? And some things haven't worked. Some things failed, or you had to go back to the drawing board. Okay, I got to try it this way, or I got to do it that way. And you've had a lot of that, but that's coming to an end because success is about to come in for you. Especially, I'm going to say, little bits of success. This was very similar to the Leo reading that I just did right before you guys here on this same video. This is this period now coming to you now is where you're going to begin to see some of the successes coming in. Don't get too ahead of yourself. I think what's going to come in for you is going to be very exciting. It's definitely going to be something that puts you in the spotlight. You're going to be like, oh my God, look at Sagittarius. They're really kicking it. They're really getting it done. But don't get too far ahead of yourself. These are just some of the small successes along the way. You're going to have a few more knockbacks, I'm sure. Moon energy is there because there's still going to be more testing periods coming in. There's still going to be more periods where you're unsure of what to do next. But maintain your confidence. High Priestess. The High Priestess and the Queen of Wands showed up for the last reading as well for Leo. Some of you are definitely dealing with Leo energy in your chart or in your life. This love connection coming in at the beginning may be a Leo, but High Priestess and Queen of Wands is some of the most confident, strong energy that you can have, right? The high priestess is absolutely sure of what she's doing. She trusts her gut at every turn of the way. And the Queen of Wands is wise. You know, she's so wise because she's been through so much. She's been through so many times where she's had to sort of die a little ego death. She's been through so much trial and tribulations that have really smited her ego and really brought her low, but she's risen above that. And that resilience, there's no other energy stronger than the Queen of Wands to embody that resilience of getting back up and moving on. Getting back up and moving on, right? This is a great reading, Sagittarius. Let me tell you, this Ace of Cups, yeah, it's there. It comes in, but you make no decisions about it at all because your work is important to you right now. This work is very important to you, and it should be because it promises to bring such success in. Ultimately, now the success is actually not showing just now in this reading. The little successes along the way are showing up. Your big success is coming in the future. I would say months from now, you will begin to see some of the bigger successes coming in, the bigger accomplishments on your path. Right now, you're just getting an inkling of some of some of the returns from the blood, sweat, and tears that you've been putting in. Let's get some oracle cards out. This is a great reading for Sagittarius resonating up. Hey, what can I say? My collective resonates. I'm sorry, but it's true. You know, these readings, you know, there's thousands of readers out there and they all have different collectives, but my collective that I'm reading for, you guys are all on fire recently. You're resonating up, you're doing the work, you're putting the time in. Many of us have had setbacks, knockbacks. We've broken up with people. We've had to hermit ourselves away, Sagittarius, to get this work done, but you've done it. You know, and I don't know, it just gives me such excitement to read for you guys. All right, spirit of the spider, spirit of the dog, spider spirit, spirit of the dog, and spirit of the witch. Well, fate and destiny, you know, free will, fate, and destiny. I love this card. Again, shout out to Mystic Moon Oracle. She's a reader on here. She has a great following, but her oracle decks are awesome. Spirits of darkness and light. I've been using them for years, and I love this card. Spider spirit, fate, destiny, free will. You know, the spider is very intentional. It weaves that web of support intentionally, right? Excellent energy. Spirit of the dog, undying loyalty coming in, right? So there's going to be some of this here. I don't know where this is coming from. Take this as you will if it applies to you. All right. Maybe friends coming in to support. And spirit of the witch, magic, psychic, sorcery. I'm gonna take this along with the high priestess because right now, Sagittarius, you are resonating up with a lot of intuition. And I want to say clairvoyant / psychic behavior. You're seeing things happening. You know what's going to happen. Like you see it. You know, it's almost as if you know when you're onto something and you know when it's not going to work. Again, specifically talking about this endeavor, this path, this journey that you're on to really manifest this wonderful dream, this goal, something that people can see and recognize. You know, there may be notoriety associated. There will certainly be wealth and abundance associated with it. But as I say, over the next few weeks, you're going to be coming in with some of the little successes along the road. Again, this love connection, it's there. It's happening. It's an opening. I think you're so obsessed right now with moving forward with your work that you really don't give that a whole lot of attention. And it may begin to show up in some more of the successive readings for Sagittarius, in case it shows up in the Sagittarius love reading today as well. So I'm excited to do that next. But for right now, I am going to bring to a close this Sagittarius weekly general tarot reading and the entire video Friday tarot, which is Fridays always about fire signs. Excuse me. Fridays are always about fire signs. Leo, Sagittarius, and Aries. So please do check back on my channel next week for the next premiere of this series. But for right now, guys, I'm going to say to all the fire signs, cross watchers, and everybody else who came to this video, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, or leave us a comment in the comment section for the collective. All right, guys, I wish you all love, life, and happiness, and I hope to see you in your next reading. Bye-bye now.